Why can I play with Billy? He's my friend.
Because Billy is not like you, baby. Billy is a honky.
Honky?
You should say white person or Caucasian. Honky is so old.
It doesn't matter how you say it. This is so corny. How do we agree to do a play about racism? Why can't we do a project like the other groups at the Youth Dialogues? Like a diversity Latino or anti-racism website?
Because we're a theater company. You notice our name, Mosaic Youth Theater?
But he's right. There's no way to do a play about race that isn't preachy and cheesy.
Yeah, you always have to have a big speech at the end where someone says,
We all need to accept that we are all brothers. We are all the same under our skin. I want you all to love each other. White person, find a black person and give them a big hug. Black person, find a white person and give them a high five.
Look, you guys, it doesn't have to be like that. We learned a lot at the Youth Dialogues. We met with other teenagers of all races and ethnicities from all over Metro Detroit. There has to be something we can make into a good play.
But that's another problem. How are we going to represent all these different races and ethnicities when we're all black? Well, almost.
Well, that's right, though. I mean, we should have a mixed cast. One white, one black, one Arab American, one Asian American, and one Latino. Yeah.
Well, there are a lot more ethnicities than that.
Right, and stereotypes aren't just based on race. I mean, what about class, gender, and sexual orientation? Wait a minute. You're absolutely right, but that's a whole lot of information to fit into one 30-minute play. Let's just stick to the people who participated in Youth Dialogues this year. Right, white, black, Asian American, Arab American, and Latino.
Yeah, and they could all hold hands and talk about how perfect the world would be if everyone was just like them. And they could sing, "We are the world.
We are the world.
We are the children. We are the world. Okay. Okay, real funny. But I don't understand why we can't figure out a way to make this play real. I mean, the real discussions we had as a part of the Youth Dialogues were not fake.
But how are we going to represent all these different people?
Yeah, how are we supposed to speak for them?
We don't have to. We can let them speak for themselves.
What?
We have all the writings that everyone did during the Youth Dialogues. We can let their own words speak.
Yeah, we can use these signs to represent characters of different races so it won't confuse the audience.
Wow, that actually isn't a horrible idea.
I guess we can give it a try.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so to start with, where did people say they developed their ideas about race?
When they were children,
Right.
you get your ideas from your friends or from other family members.
Right. Especially if you grew up in a segregated area where all you knew were white people or all you knew were black people.
Well, that's just about everywhere in Metro Detroit.
Hello and welcome to What's Cooking Detroit, where we will be looking deep into the ingredients of our fair city. I'm Shanice Carter.
And I'm Dane the Chef McDane.
And today we're going to
Get things cooking
with an oldie but a goodie, human socialization stew.
What? Socialite stew?
No, socialization stew.
Socialism stew.
No. Repeat after me. Socialization.
Socialization.
Socialization is what you learn as you grew up about values or cultures from your family and community. But it's also the recipe for one of our all-time favorite dishes, socialization stew.
That sounds good.
Oh, it is good, but very tricky to make. To start, you need one human being. The younger, the better, preferably a baby. If your human is too old, the skin can be tough and the brain is already wired, so it won't soak up the surrounding flavors very well. But a nice fresh baby, it's like a sponge and it will soak up almost all surrounding flavors. It is important that your baby soaks up all the flavors around it.
First, segregate your baby. Babies learn by absorbing what's going on around them. So keep them away from people who are different, whether that be different races, ethnicities, or religions. They are much more likely to soak up the flavors of ignorance. Let your baby marinate in ignorance for several years for it to get every bit of that socialization flavor deep into its tender skin.
Now, after marinating for 3 to 5 years in segregation and ignorance, your toddler should start to not trust anyone who is different. This is perfect, and now you are ready for the next step of our recipe. This is very tricky, and it can make or break your stew. It requires many people adding lots and lots of cup after cup of the most important ingredient of your socialization stew, fear.
You said it. Without a heaping helping of fear, this stew wouldn't be worth the pot you cooking in. Fear. You need to let all the people around your child keep stirring in fear by the gallon. Whether that's from your neighborhood, your church, or other groups, let them keep stirring in that fear.
And then you'll know you're on to the next step of your socialization stew. Hey, I won last time. Let's play. Come over here. Come on, I need somebody to play.
Hurry!
Okay.
Red Rover, send the Keisha on the
Okay, one more time.
All right. Red Rover, send Sally on over. Sally, what are you doing? Your father and I talked to you about this. Come back to the house right now.
I wish people from bigger cities would try to understand what it's like to live in a small, isolated, all-white community. Our experiences growing up are so different. It's hard to be open-minded and know about diversity when you hardly ever see it. But not all of us are closed-minded.
My first interaction with a white person my age, I was asked if I liked being black. What kind of a question is that?
Well, you shouldn't jump to conclusions and imagine a fairy tale life for me just because I'm white.
What do you know about anything? People label me as a thug or a gangster just because they don't know who I am. My neighborhood may look dirty on the outside, but on the inside there's love and togetherness, and we work together as a team.
Sally, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's not safe for you to be out here with them.
How did we even get to this point? Things were fine till her mom came out here.
My mom said all white people hate us. She said they left the city because they were afraid to be around us.
When my dad told my sister that if she ever drove her car south of 8 Mile, he would take her car away. He said that the black folks rioted in the 60s and it was not safe to live there anymore.
My dad said it was a revolution, not a riot.
Yeah, well, I better head home.
Me too. See you later.
Maybe.
One weekend, I spent the night at my friend's house, and we were going to church the next morning, and I was super nervous because I'm Jewish and I've never been to church before. And when I got there, I couldn't believe my eyes. The family belonged to an all-black church.
Oh,
when I think about Jesus, what he's done for me. When I think about Jesus and how he set me free, I'm gonna dance, 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 dance. Oh,
Yes.
You should have seen the looks I was getting. I felt so alone and singled out. I was the only white girl there. I don't know if the experience was good or bad, but it sure did open my eyes. I was a guest at their church, and they didn't treat me badly, but everyone knew I didn't fit in. I'll always remember how I felt that day.
2 years ago, I tried out for a baseball team that was all white. I was the only black person trying out, and I felt out of my comfort zone. However, I noticed that the people were treating me differently. The coaches kept asking me if I knew the drills they were doing. I inferred that they thought I was ignorant of the technicalities of the game and that they were simplifying the drills for me. I finally confronted the coach one day. He replied by saying they thought I hadn't learned the ins and outs of baseball from my former black team. I immediately left the field, and I never returned to that team again.
It's weird the way being white affects my life. I mean, if anything, it makes my life easier. And I take that for granted sometimes. Around first grade, race really started to play into things. I remember it was February, Black History Month. we were learning about how blacks were and still are treated inferior to whites. Our teacher would teach us about the things that would happen to blacks for no reason at all, just because they look different from whites. I couldn't fathom how people could treat other humans so poorly for no reason at all. But that's when I realized what it meant to be white. I'm not ashamed of being white, but I am ashamed of what it can mean. It means having the upper hand in life. And I do not like that.
Heading into the 5th grade, my parents decided to move me to a school in Dearborn, mainly because of the high tuition of my other school. The students at the new school were 90% white and very accepting and nice to me. At times, though, it seemed they were being nice to me solely because of the color of my skin. I ended up serving as the school's unofficial mascot.
My grandmother plays favor with her grandkids. She treats her darker grandkids more harshly than she does her lighter ones. One day, my brother and cousin were fighting, and they went into the street. When we got home, we were whipped with a paddle, and my lighter cousin was whipped with a cloth belt.